Hello, Central United Methodist. It's Pastor Amy here, and I am sharing with you a midweek motivation. Last Sunday, we began a new sermon series called It's a Wonderful Life, looking at money and meaning. And we spent our time together talking about our relationship with money. And we looked back at where we learned our ideas and our practices about money came from. And during my sermon, I encouraged you to do some thinking about where your history with money comes from and where your practices, where you learned what money means and how to use it. And I told you that I would share with you a little bit more about my own experience and where my money relationship was formed. Well, many of you know I grew up in Leavenworth, Kansas, and my parents both worked at Fort Leavenworth. They were civilians, civil servant, federal employees. And we didn't lead a very extravagant life, but it was a good life. And I'm sure there were plenty of times that I asked for things that I didn't get. But if I really wanted something or if I needed something, I was able to get it or I worked it off in trade. I mentioned in my sermon that I bought my first record album on credit from my mom. It cost about $9, and to pay it off, I had to fold loads of clothes at 25 cents a load. So at a $9 record album ended up costing me 36 loads of folded clothes. I don't remember not having something that I really needed. We would go on vacation. We would go shopping when we needed things or sometimes just for fun, but the first stop was always the sales rack. We rarely paid full price for anything. We had a fishing boat and we spent many a Saturdays at either Clinton Lake or Perry Lake. At the age of 16, though, my parents told me I needed to get a job, and I started working at the corner pharmacy in downtown Leavenworth. All day on Saturdays and a couple of days after school during the week. And the rule was I got to keep $20 from every paycheck, and then the rest was put into my savings account. And that savings account was later used for my spending money when I entered college. Another thing I remember about money growing up is my parents' generosity. There was an older African American gentleman in Leavenworth, and people would often see him walking along the streets. He would have a shotgun over one shoulder, and he would have a rabbit or a squirrel in the other hand. And he wasn't out hunting for sport. Whatever animal he happened to be carrying was going to be his supper. And I remember my mom in particular doing what she needed to do to find out who this man was and where he lived because she wanted to take him some groceries. And I remember the day that we went, she and my dad and me and my youth leader at church and another kid who was in youth group with me who happened to live by the man, going to his house and taking him a box of food. And even now, she will keep gift cards to McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's, those kind of places in her car. And if she sees somebody who is hungry, asking for food, she'll give them the ability to go buy something. All of these things helped shape my relationship with money. Now compare my story to that of my father's. He was the youngest of 12 children in a family of farmers that lived in southeast Missouri, and money was tight. I remember him sharing stories with me about getting hand-me-down shoes that had holes in the soles of them, and he would put cardboard in the bottom of the shoes, and then he would take a black magic marker and color the cardboard to try and make the patch look a little less conspicuous. He always said that after that experience that there were many things that he would do without in life, but shoes would not be one of them. In fact, if you look at pictures of my daughter's first several years of life, it looks like she's wearing the exact same pair of shoes. And that's because my dad found a sale on tennis shoes and purchased 3 identical pairs in consecutive sizes for her. And about a year later, he found the same pair of shoes, the next 2 larger sizes, on a clearance rack and bought those as well. So From about the age of 8 months to almost 3, it looks like she was wearing the same pair of shoes. Compare his story to that of my grandparents. My grandmother passed away several years ago, but my grandfather is still with us. They were products of the Great Depression, and my grandfather still to this day considers very carefully whether or not money really needs to be spent. I don't remember my grandparents ever taking a vacation. Meals out were a luxury, and I remember rolling my eyes at my grandmother when she would insist that the frozen Totino's pizza from the grocery store freezer tasted every bit as good as the ones from Pizza Hut. All of these experiences have had an impact on my relationship with money. Work hard and earn a paycheck. Lead a comfortable but not extravagant life. Make sure that your needs are always met, but it's okay to splurge every once in a while. Always start shopping at the sales rack, and I'd better want something pretty badly and use it until it falls apart to justify paying full price for it. So those are some of the things that have affected me and my money relationship. What about you? What are a few of your earliest memories related to money, and why do they stand out to you? Do you resemble a parent or a caregiver when it comes to money? Do you follow their practices and their guidance and advice on the use of money? When you take a look at these things that have formed us, it's interesting to see how our past shapes so much of our future. Well, this Sunday in worship, we're going to be taking a look inward and talk about creating a courageous vision of how we can transform our money practices to align with our values. What do you find to be truly life-giving for you? What are those things that just fill you with dread? What are the things that inspire your heart, and where does your heart lie? Because like the Gospel of Matthew tells us, where your treasure is, your heart will be there as well. So I hope that you will continue learning about this wonderful life that we have. Would you pray with me? Gracious God, looking back, we see the generosity of those who came before us, acknowledging their hardships and struggles, their joys and gains that bring us to the place we are now. In looking back, help us to build a foundation for those who will look back at our lives, those who will be affected by what we do, what we offer, what we give. In the name of the one who calls us to the loyalty of justice, Jesus the Christ. Amen. Have a good rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Bye.